And they have their own little budget, and little budget. There's a thing with these guys. It's meant to be very lightweight. They're just like, anywhere, let's say anywhere from like 5 to 15 members of this thing. That's nothing. They should determine their own size. They should be able to say, you know, so it's not working with 10 people, let's strip it down to 9 people, and then maybe vote somebody off or something. Something like that. Obviously, you don't want to have too much inter-council politics, intra-council. Anyway, but you have these just 5 to 15 people, and like maybe some secretaries just to do like research and stuff, right? That's not a lot. That is really not a lot. They wouldn't have like a giant inspection force all their own and everything directly in. No. They just be less than just less than 50 people certainly overall. If you throw in all the secretaries and all the people they might possibly need. But very lightweight thing. You build them their own little building, right? And you make sure this building is above and beyond all fire standards and all safety standards and all secrecy standards, because they'll all be they'll have clearance to look at like the most top secret stuff in case they need to. Because hey, there's bureaucracy at those levels too. Above and beyond all the levels here, so that no one could possibly interrupt them with red tape of, oh no, wait, this violates, this EPA rule, and you have to, so they can work independently. Now, independently doesn't mean super secret, do something backwards in the evil way type thing. Independently just means without red tape. Now, they should also be public, right? Except with regards to, actual top secret stuff they may dabble in once in a while. The NIC stuff, whatever they're researching, should be always out on the internet, and we should know all the names of the council members, and all their opinions on various things, or whatever it is they're looking into, and they gotta look around and try and find just an understanding of the mess we've got. And you gotta take time on this. This is why we can't just have a commission, you gotta do this within 2 years, no. This is long term. It's like cleaning your house. You don't just do it once, and then we're done. It's like every once in a while, oh wait, we need a little, put this here, put that there. Do a little more cleaning up, put this mess a little bit more back in order, right? So, we have the self-determined NIC doing the work all very publicly, open for people to comment on and stuff like that, which is great, because then you get the American people on board with this, and they all start working on what they think is the most, bureaucratic areas of government. Not necessarily just plain old slowness of bureaucracy, but anything just doesn't make sense. Anything at all, really. They can technically look at any issue, and they just choose one issue or the other based on what they're interested on at the time, based on what seems important in America at the time, and they wouldn't be under anyone's direct orders, as I said that already. So it wouldn't just be, because we always have this thing with, the bridge fell down in Minneapolis, right? And I read an editorial, I was like, the best way to get money to build a bridge is to have that bridge fall down. Because like a couple of days later, Congress passed like $250 million to rebuild that bridge. Now, regardless of whose money that ought to be rebuilding the bridge, and it was Minneapolis's bridge, and why didn't they just build, anyway, or Minnesota or somebody, anyway. But regardless, it's true that whenever something is big in the news, that's when everyone starts paying attention to it. The NIC's job is to pay attention to everything else, right? So the NIC, just looking around at random stuff, might have said to us, hey, we just did this little investigation on NASA, and we found that they have a broken safety culture. Imagine if they'd said that a few years ago, and we would have prevented the Columbia disaster. We've said, oh, but this is inefficient, and this is, all these things that we're wasting, all these things, this is all public, and I'll put it out, and this is the waste, and this is, and everybody in charge of their own little thing starts saying, oh, I have some waste here, I better ought to do something about this before the NIC comes by, and you never know when the NIC will come by. You never know when they'll call you up. That's the one power they have, right? This is a big deal. The NIC should not have the power to directly change anything. Very important. Because if they did, that would be a cabal, wouldn't it? I don't want, this mysterious group of 10 people in their thing, like, planning out the whole government. Like, we're in charge. So they're not actually in charge. They can't actually tell anyone to do anything except talk to them. That's it. Their only power is that of observation. Well, two powers, really. Observation and communication. So they can observe anything. They can call up any FBI agent and say, like, give me your recent report, And this is another thing with getting through bureaucracy, right? And this isn't necessarily getting rid of bureaucracy in and of itself, but let's say they've been hearing suspicious reports about, I don't know, some terrorist-type guys are learning to fly some planes, which, we had a good, 6 years ago now? There's some suspicions on that. Imagine if the NIC had existed, they might have said, this is interesting, and they call up half a dozen FBI agents that, hey, could you send me an extra copy of that report? And they go, sure, because of course these guys are cleared for seeing all the ultra classified information. And they start things, and they start putting the dots together. And it's their job to put the dots together. It's their job to look at everything and look at it in this kind of ad hoc way, looking at it in any angle. Because even, like, say, the Director of National Intelligence, he's a guy on top now. He's supposed to connect dots, but then again, he's one guy on top who has to deal with just, like, the guys right below him. We would deal with the people right below them, right below them, right below them, right below them. NIC, much as it could, would look like at the actual facts of the matter. The guys on the ground see from them and make their own conclusions, regardless of what the bureaucracy has concluded. Because when you go through several layers like that, by the time it gets to the top, it's often a little blurred, you know? So they might have said, hey, we got some suspicious thing here, I think we should do this, this, and that. They could call up, you know, CIA and say, hey, I think we should investigate so-and-so, and maybe the CIA would not want to investigate so-and-so, you know, particularly if the president says otherwise, or if it's against the law. They can certainly say, no, we're not doing that, but they can recommend that. There's the other power, communication. All right, so first of all, observation. They can look at anything. They could check crime reports. They could check, see how NASA's doing. They could check how those levees doing in New Orleans, or how about, you know, how about we look up how's the nation's infrastructure doing? You know, that's one thing they could easily check that, right? At some point they just go, has anybody recently checked how our highways and bridges and stuff are doing? You know, and then they call up whoever it is that has that information. Most likely 16 different organizations, because that's the way bureaucracy works. But they're the NIC, they're the generalists. They can talk to all 16 different organizations and just get reports to them and sort of put the things, connect the dots again. We all love that phrase. And they would say, hey, you know, we have some problems here with some of these bridges. You know, they're gonna it looks like oh, some of them are structurally deficient. They might fall down, and then they might raise awareness of that, and there's the communication power. Talk to the president, right? And they say, Mr. President, we think you should put more money into bridge building. And if he doesn't listen, or if they just feel like it, they can talk to any member of Congress, right? And so far as they don't violate, you know, rules of top secret security and all that, which generally they don't, because most things are not top secret in the world, they can talk to anybody, right? They can talk to the media. They can talk to the American people. They can, you know, remember from the NICs, sits down in front of a camera at CNN and he says, hey, you know, I think we need to put more work into building better levees in New Orleans, right? And you may say, whoever might ought to do that, perhaps it's the federal government, or perhaps he thinks that, you know, the city has more money to put into that, you know, or something.